The world's biggest country is going through the world's biggest sexual revolution. From the internet to corner sex shops, China is changing. Courtship, romance, fashion. But lost in the mix, millions of single men who can't find a date, much less a mate. Turbulent times in China. The cultural revolution is over. The sexual revolution has begun. I'm Anne-Marie McDonald. This is Doc Zone. It's after midnight in Beijing, but things are just starting to sizzle. This is a new world of sex, drugs, and rock and roll as China goes through the West's 60s rebellion. No one here is carrying Mao's little red book. They've got little black books filled with the names of their next date. After decades of sexual repression, the Chinese are suddenly shaking things up.
I don't care what Chairman Mao think about my life. It's my life, not his life.
The young generation, they are very free. They're out of control.
Sex, the great taboo, is back in the open. And it's hard to miss. There's a dark side, too. These secretly shot scenes are usually associated with the bordellos of Thailand, not China. Now, prostitution is skyrocketing and feeding a deadly HIV crisis. It would all shock Chairman Mao Zedong, who tried to bury sex along with capitalism. But now the Chinese are embracing them both with a passion. "60 years ago, Mao launched a huge political experiment that shook the world. But few knew it was also the start of a giant sexual experiment for 1 billion people. That's only now being understood. It turned couples into comrades, not lovers, and cloaked men and women in the same asexual Mao suit.
Women were turned into men. Everyone was dressed alike, men and women. The fashion statement back then was, that so you can, all become brothers and sisters. The only way women could show a bit of their figure was by sewing in the blue uniform so that they could have a waistline.
This is Jia Jianying, a well-known writer on Chinese pop culture. She lives both in New York and here in her Beijing home. Jia and her mother lived through the Cultural Revolution, when she says sexuality was almost eliminated.
The Red Guard went on the streets and cutting everybody's long hair. And that was, a very blatant, way of, just trying to make everyone the same.
Yu Tsai is one of China's most famous women, a national TV celebrity with the star power of Oprah and Martha Stewart combined. She's also a tycoon who first brought cosmetics to China in the 1980s, when women were clamoring to try their first lipstick.
They dress like men. Women dress like men. No color, no makeup. The hairdo was all one kind of hairdo, basically no style. Nobody was wearing anything provocative or anything like that at all, and certainly nobody was going to prominently display their lips.
The Communist Party even selected your spouse. Millions ended up in loveless, sexless marriages. And those who tried to find romance were shamed, as in this famous 1980s Chinese film. For young lovers, the world was a hostile place, says Professor Pan Sui-Ming, a leading scholar on sexual issues.
In the Cultural Revolution, when I was young, I will fight against everyone if you have the premarital sex. I will hate you. Because Chairman Mao lead us.
Sex was a total taboo then. Nobody would even dare to think of holding hands. Sex was part of what the Communist Party considered the old feudal customs, which included a lot of things, old books, old paintings. People had sex life, yeah, but only if you think of sex life as reproductional work. The word fun did not exist back then.
Why? Because someone think the sex is very dangerous to the revolution. Because the political revolution need a man to fight against someone, but sex you make love, happy, and something you love the other people is danger for political revolution.
Secretly, Mao's own sex life was worthy of an emperor. Recent history has revealed the chairman had a lust for virgins who supposedly kept him young. And his sexual excesses are now lampooned by pop artists.
What was Chairman Mao's sexual life like?
Oh, I can't see it, because in China this is illegal. This is illegal.
It's illegal to say what his sex life was?
Yeah. I never seen Chairman Mao's sexual life. I just read some book, and the book is illegal. So we can't speak it. Yeah, no, don't discuss this question.
Mao was a phony. Mao basically, said everyone else should live this pure proletarian life, while he himself had all these girls and, he had a good sex life. If you define a good sex life as a lot of girls.
Mao left hundreds of millions of ordinary people literally in the dark when it came to their sex lives, with many married couples living sexless marriages. Today, a half-century later, many are discovering the steps to better romance and love lives. But millions are still terribly ignorant of basic sexual facts, says China's leading sexologist, Dr. Ma Xiaonian.
In 1981, we were seeing a lot of patients who were actually impotent. Often, their condition dated back to the Cultural Revolution, but they'd never seen anyone about it. At that time, who dared talk about the subject?
大家好，我是吴若梅。今天是星期五，我们的鸡夜私语时又开始。
It's after dark, and everyone's tuning in to Whispers, the sex talk show that's the sensation of the nation.
是关于情感消费。
The host of the show is Madame Ruru Mei, who answers questions from listeners who often show an astounding lack of sexual savvy.
钱包。
No, swimming with your boyfriend will not make you pregnant.
Ru says even many university students are painfully ignorant of sex because the older generation was too embarrassed to teach them anything.
A few days ago on our program, there was a male university student in first year who met a girl. They hugged and kissed. He wanted to know if he'd get AIDS or get her pregnant even though they were wearing winter coats.
Ru understands their problems well because she too was a victim of the Cultural Revolution's sexual repression.
When I got married, I knew nothing. I was really clueless. I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't know what. I was very scared about this. The experience left me with a very bad impression. I got divorced at 28 years old and never married again.